Dear students, welcome to Madrasa. Today's lesson is going to be about if conditional type 1, 2, and 3. By the end of the lesson, you will be able to correctly use if conditional to talk about possibility in the future, different reality in the present, and different reality in the past. Please bring a piece of paper and a pen to write the most important notes. Let's get started. Question 1. What will happen to you if you eat junk food excessively? What will happen to you if you eat junk food excessively? If you eat junk food excessively, you will put on weight. This is an example of if conditional type 1. So, if you eat junk food excessively, you will put on weight. Now, what is the verb or what is the tense of the verb which comes after if? Is it present simple, past simple, or future? Think about it. And what is the tense of the verb which comes in the second clause? Will put on weight. Is it present simple, past simple, or future? So, to answer this question, you need to consider the following form of using if conditional type 1. So, if plus subject plus present simple. So, the tense which comes after if, or the verb which comes after if, is conjugated in the present simple. If you eat. And the second verb which comes in the second clause, will put on weight, is conjugated in the future, meaning will plus stem. This is the form of if conditional type 1. Let's move on to the use. We use the first conditional to talk about things that are possible in the future. In our example that we gave you in the first slide, if you eat junk food excessively, you will put on weight. So it's possible to put on weight if you eat junk food excessively. So we are talking about a possibility in the future. Therefore, we use if conditional type 1. Let's move on to the second example. Or before that, we have note. So if conditional type 1, you can use or you can start your sentence with the if clause, and you can say, if you eat junk food excessively, you will put on weight. Or you can start with the result clause and you can say, you will put on weight if you eat junk food excessively. So we can switch the two sentences. It's either you start with if and you put comma to separate the two clauses, or you can start with the result. However, there is no need to put comma. You need to put if between the two clauses. Let's consider the second example. What would happen if a meteor collided with the Earth? Now try to think about it. What would happen if a meteor collided with the Earth? So if a meteor collided with the Earth, life would end. So this is an example of if conditional type 2. Here we are not talking about possibility in the future. We are making supposition. We are supposing something which is unreal. So let's consider our example. If a meteor collided with the Earth, life would end. So what is the verb or what is the tense of the verb which comes after if? So collided, collided. So the tense of the verb which comes after if is conjugated in the past simple. And what is the verb which comes in the second clause? Would end, would end. So it is would plus stem. So what is the form of if conditional type 2 is as follows. If plus subject plus past simple collided, comma, subject plus would plus stem. So this is the form of if conditional type 2. Let's move on to the use. So we use the second conditional to make suppositions or to imagine something totally different from reality. So when you make supposition in the present, or when you imagine a different reality in the present. In our example, we are imagining a different situation in the present. If a meteor collided with the Earth. So this is not true, we are just making a suppositions, right? So if conditional type 2, this is the form. If plus subject plus past simple, comma, subject plus would plus stem. And this is the use. We use it to make suppositions. Okay, we move on to the third example. What would have happened if Thomas Edison hadn't invented the light bulb? You know, Thomas Edison invented the light bulb, in the past. Now we are trying to imagine a different reality in the past. We are trying to imagine what would have happened if Thomas Edison hadn't invented the light bulb. Now, if Thomas Edison hadn't invented the light bulb, our life would be dark, or we would have lived in darkness. So this is an example of if conditional type 3. If Thomas Edison hadn't invented the light bulb, people would have lived in darkness. Now, what is the tense of the verb which comes after if? Hadn't invented. Hadn't invented is the past perfect. And what is the tense of the verb which comes in the second clause? Would have lived. It's would plus have plus past participle. So the form of if conditional type 3 is as follows. If plus subject plus past perfect. So past perfect is had plus past participle, comma, subject plus would have plus past participle. Now, when do we use if conditional type 3? So we use if conditional type 3 when we imagine a different past, that is to say, an unreal past. We are just imagining what would have happened if Thomas Edison hadn't invented the light bulb. But did Thomas Edison invent the light bulb? Yes, he did. We are just imagining a different situation in the past. Okay, let's move on to practice. Now, give the correct form of the following verbs in brackets. So, in order to solve this exercise, you need to determine whether the sentence is in type 1, type 2, or type 3. So, if you to study hard, you to succeed with distinction. So, we are in a situation where it's possible in the future. So, if you study hard, you succeed with distinction. This is possible. This is a possible situation in the future. Therefore, we use type 1. And what is the rule of type 1? Is if plus subject plus present simple, comma, subject plus future. So, if you study hard, comma, you will succeed with distinction. So this is an if conditional in the present. So this is an if conditional type 1 where we are talking about possibility either in the present or in the future. Let's move on to the second sentence. If Martians to invade the Earth, they to kill us. So here we are dealing with Martians. Martians, they are aliens. So we are just imagining what would happen if Martians invaded the Earth. So this is just an imaginary situation, right? Therefore, we use if conditional type 2. What is the rule of if conditional type 2? Is past simple plus would plus stem. Therefore, we can say, if Martians invaded the Earth, past simple, they would kill us. So this is an if conditional type 2. Let's move on to the next example. If Columbus not discover the New World, meaning America, the USA not exist. So, did Columbus discover the New World? Yes, he did. He discovered the New World in the past. So here we are trying to imagine a different situation in the past. So which type should we use? Is it type 1, 2, or 3? Think about it. Yeah, actually it's type 3. We are imagining a different reality or a different situation in the past. So, if Columbus hadn't discovered the New World, the USA wouldn't have existed. So this is if conditional type 3. Thank you very much indeed, dear students. I hope you enjoyed today's lesson. Please don't forget to join our Facebook community and subscribe in our YouTube channel. Stay tuned for more videos.